WNBA owners are moving along with business. They're not entertaining these games with the WNBPA. We got to break this down. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, and hype the video. Let's get right into this here first. The WNBA issued a statement. All right.
January 20th has officially been set as the deadline for core player designations, and WNBA ownership isn't slowing down to wait for the Players Association to sort out its strategy. While the WNBPA released public statements centered on revenue-sharing proposals, league officials quietly contacted every general manager with clear instructions: continue preparing for free agency, reach out to targets, structure potential offers, move ahead regardless of whether a new CBA is finalized. This negotiation is unfolding very differently from what the union anticipated. The sharp contrast between the league's steady action and the union's public pressure campaign highlights a deeper issue: who truly holds the leverage in these talks?
Our priority is a deal that significantly increases players' salaries. That is the key thing. That is where these two is different. The WNBA said our priority is a deal that significantly increases players' salaries, enhances the overall player experience, and supports long-term growth of the league for current and future generations of players and fans. Now, I want you to remember that very first part. Our priority is a deal that significantly...
Look closely at this statement. Our priority is a deal that significantly increases player salaries. That line, issued by WNBA ownership, may be the most revealing part of the entire negotiation, because in many ways, ownership believes it has already addressed that demand. They proposed maximum contracts worth $1.3 million, mid-tier salaries around $550,000, and rookie contracts starting at $250,000, dramatic increases compared to the previous CBA. These are not minor adjustments. They represent substantial financial growth. Yet the Players Association's messaging has barely emphasized salary boosts. Instead, their focus remains firmly on revenue-sharing percentages. That gap in priorities explains why negotiations have stalled in a holding pattern rather than culminating in a celebratory agreement.
The players are key. If you go look at the WNBPA statement, they are talking about this new revenue sharing model. They're not talking about increased salaries. They want rev share that they feel like would not happen without the players and yada, yada, yada. That is where these two parties, there's a major disconnect. That's where there's a major disconnect. Now, the WNBA front office has let's get to this.
Front office sports reporter Annie Costabile clarified what this status quo period means from a legal standpoint. Under U.S. labor law, the WNBA must continue operating under the terms of the expired CBA while negotiations are ongoing. That includes qualifying offers, core designations, and all standard free agency procedures. The only limitation is that teams remain under the previous salary structure until a new deal is ratified. Just 1 hour before Friday's midnight deadline, the league proposed a moratorium, a full pause on free agency activity until the CBA was completed. The union declined. As a result, the league now finds itself in an unusual transition phase. Teams can extend offers, but players are unlikely to sign since financial terms will shift once the new agreement is finalized. Strategically, however, ownership is encouraging teams to initiate discussions anyway. Identify preferred destinations. Secure informal commitments. Lay the groundwork. Once the CBA is signed, the timeline accelerates quickly. First, the expansion draft for Toronto and Portland, followed immediately by free agency. There will be little room for delay.
Your free agents and all of this stuff should be set up by January 11th from what I read. Here we go. When the clock strikes midnight on Friday night, it already happened, the third deadline in negotiations between the WNBA and WNBPA for a new collective bargaining agreement will have come and gone with no deal. The league won't turn into a pumpkin, but negotiations will enter a period of status quo. That means both sides can continue negotiating while maintaining the conditions of the current CBA. Under U.S. labor law, the WNBA has a status.
In many ways, ownership is approaching this like a long chess match, while the Players Association appears to be reacting move by move. The WNBA believed it held substantial leverage, that the league's operations would stall without a new CBA, forcing ownership to concede on revenue sharing. Instead, the league continued forward. On January 11th, teams began contacting free agents. By January 20th, core designations must be submitted. Basketball business proceeds regardless. Players still require contracts, teams must complete their rosters, and expansion franchises must prepare for drafts. The process doesn't pause simply because negotiations remain unsettled. Complicating matters further, the players are not entirely aligned in their priorities. Superstars like Aya Wilson would likely gain the most from maximizing top-tier salaries, while role players are more concerned with raising the salary floor and strengthening minimum contracts. Although revenue sharing appears beneficial in principle for all players, in practice the largest financial gains would flow to the league's biggest stars.
Man, we got to keep business moving. Okay. Let's get ahead of some things here. Let's not wait. You guys can proceed as usual. This is what they're on. The same sources told Front Office Sports they viewed going through the motions of free agency without a CBA in place as pointless. Under the expired CBA, qualifying offers including core designations, which grants teams exclusive negotiating rights to a player under the tag, could be sent out no later than January 20.
Let's examine what ownership has actually proposed, because the WNBA's public messaging suggests the league is undervaluing its players. A $1.3 million maximum salary would represent roughly a 160% increase from the current $241,984 max under the expired CBA. The suggested $550,000 mid-level contracts would more than double what many veterans currently earn. Rookie salaries starting at $250,000 would allow first-year players to make more than several current All-Stars. These are not modest raises. They would completely reshape the league's pay structure. And ownership is putting these numbers forward while the WNBA is still not profitable. For 27 years, the NBA has supported league operations financially. Yes, viewership is climbing. Yes, sponsorship revenue is increasing. Yes, the league is experiencing momentum. But growth does not automatically equal profitability. The union is pushing for a revenue-sharing system similar to the NBA's model, where players receive around 50% of basketball-related income. On the surface, that sounds reasonable, until you consider that the WNBA's basketball-related income is still developing. Much of the current funding comes from investment capital, NBA backing, and projected future earnings influenced by the Caitlin Clark effect. You cannot divide revenue that has not yet fully materialized.
Have the opportunity to see, hey, who wants to go where, who's willing to commit where, who's feeling froggy and interested in certain markets. That way it will, because free agency, everything is going to be condensed now. So everything's going to be moving fast. So they figure, hey, if we can get some things going now.
Consider what reportedly took place during the league's call with general managers. The message from ownership was straightforward: continue operating normally. Meanwhile, the WNBA released statements accusing the league of negotiating in bad faith, undervaluing players, and attempting to limit earning potential. Ownership responded not with urgency, but with steady direction, instructing teams to move forward. That response signals confidence, supported by legal footing. The status quo period is not a technical workaround, it is standard labor procedure. When a CBA expires without a new agreement, both parties continue functioning under the prior terms while negotiations continue. The distinction here is that ownership appears to be using this period strategically and productively, while the union focuses its messaging on broader themes of fairness and long-term principles.
Everybody won't feel so rushed, even though it is going to be rushed. But hey, the owners are trying to move forward. They responded with a statement. They're already contacted every team and told them January 11th, start contacting the free agents you're going to be interested in. By the 20th, whatever players you are going to tag or whatever, or protect or whatever, go ahead and get that in, and we're moving on. So that's what it is right now, man. The players look crazy right now. Players look crazy. They thought they had so much damn leverage, man. This is wild.
Here is the practical reality the Players Association must confront. The league calendar will continue regardless of ongoing negotiations. Free agency is approaching. The expansion draft will proceed. Training camps will open. The 2025 season is expected to begin as scheduled. Players seeking financial security will need contracts, and those contracts will be discussed within the structure ownership has outlined. The union may continue pressing for revenue sharing, but individual players ultimately face personal financial decisions. A player previously earning $150,000 may find it difficult to decline a $500,000 offer while waiting for a future percentage of projected revenue. Ownership understands this dynamic. That is why teams were encouraged to begin outreach on January 11th. The strategy effectively places pressure on the union, accept significant salary increases now, or risk members signing agreements under existing CBA terms while broader revenue discussions remain unresolved.
Players look crazy right now. Players look crazy. They thought they had so much damn leverage, man. This is wild, man. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. This is Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel.
So where does this situation stand?
The CBA
deadline passed at midnight Friday without an agreement, extension, or moratorium, leaving both sides in a status quo period that arguably favors ownership. The union believed it possessed leverage amid unprecedented league growth. Caitlin Clark's rookie season delivered record ratings.
More than the league
Attendance
needs any
surged.
individual player.
Sponsorship revenue expanded. All of that is accurate. However,
WNBA
growth does not
and
automatically
grew for 27
translate
years
into bargaining power when the league still depends on outside financial
regardless
support.
of who signs
The
what
WNBA operated and expanded for 27 years prior to Clark's
Changing
arrival,
money to
and
these
it will
players.
continue operating
A
regardless of individual contract outcomes this offseason.
League
Ownership's
that's never
proposal
been
of a
profitable is a massive
$1.3 million maximum salary in a league that has yet to turn a profit
Once
represents
more,
a
and that's their
substantial
right.
financial
But one-
commitment. The union is fully entitled to pursue
Completely
additional
different
gains,
things, and
but
right
desire
now,
alone
watching
does
how-
not create leverage. The assumption that the league could not function without a
which
new
side actually
CBA
has the
agreement
power.
appears to have been a miscalculation. Public support and social media momentum have
They
not
thought the
halted
league
league
couldn't function
operations.
without them.
Teams are preparing offers. Free agency timelines remain
Pressure and
intact.
social media
The
support
expansion
would
draft
force
is moving forward. In professional sports labor negotiations,
Thought wrong.
leverage
The
is not
owners are
determined
proceeding
by
with-
who feels justified. It is determined by who can sustain the longer timeline.
Free agency
Ownership
is happening
can continue under the old framework without significant disruption.
Everything
Players,
continues.
however,
And that's
face
the lesson.
ongoing uncertainty about their financial futures. January 11th marks
Leverage
the
isn't
beginning of
about who's right
qualifying
or who
offer
deserves
discussions. January 20th is the deadline
money
for
by
core
operating
designations.
under the old
League
CBA.
business continues. The question is whether the union will adapt its strategy
Every
to
day
shape that
without a
process,
new deal is
or
another
maintain
day.
its position on revenue sharing despite ownership's current stance.
January
One
11th
approach
is less
emphasizes
than a week
immediate,
away.
tangible salary increases. The other prioritizes long-term
Offers to
structural
free
change.
agents.
In
January
negotiations, aspirations without enforceable leverage rarely produce immediate
Business of
results.
basketball is
As
moving
events
forward.
unfold,
The
two likely outcomes emerge. Either the union recalibrates and
participate in
accepts the
shaping that
proposed
business,
salary
or whether they're
increases
going-
without the revenue-sharing component, or individual players begin
Ownership
signing under
clearly
existing
isn't willing
terms
to
due to
grant right
personal
now.
financial considerations. In either scenario, ownership maintains
Priority
momentum.
is
The
significantly
broader lesson
increasing.
in
But a
sports labor
statement talking
disputes
about
is clear.
revenue sharing
Leverage
concrete
belongs to the
offers that
side
would
that
more
can
than
afford
double
patience.
one of those
For now,
approaches is
league
grounded,
operations
other
are
is
advancing on
aspirational.
schedule.
And in labor,
The only
leverage is
remaining
just wishful
uncertainty
thinking.
is whether the
The
Players
individual
Association
players
will
start
adjust
breaking
course
ranks
or
and signing
continue
offers
pressing for
way
structural
right now.
changes that
They thought
ownership
they
is
held the
not
owners
prepared to
just
grant
showed
at
them
this
that
time.
growth and